There are a lot of scary things happening right now in the United States government, but perhaps the most terrifying is the fact that our Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is running amok, threatening to drill holes in people's heads and force them to recite verbatim books they read 60 years ago, even if they're not even 60 yet. I've talked about Ben Carson before, back when he was in the running to be the Republican candidate for president. He's great on paper. He's a brain surgeon. He graduated from Yale. He's the only person to have successfully separated twins that were conjoined at the head. He pioneered several neurosurgical techniques. He became the youngest chief of pediatric neurosurgery in the country when he was only 33. And he's written over 100 neurosurgical papers. Judging from that list, you would have to admit that he's a smart person who would probably never say that he could drill holes in people's heads and force them to recite books they read 60 years ago, right? That's what makes Carson so fascinating to me. By all accounts, he is very smart in one particular realm. And at first, I assumed that realm was medicine or the brain, because he first came to my attention when it came out that he is actually a young Earth creationist. He's a Seventh-day Adventist, which is a Christian sect that believes that the Earth is no more than 6,000 years old and that the entire universe was literally created in less than a week. Like, not a metaphor. Literally, it took 6 days and then God took a nap on the seventh. This is a dumb belief. There's zero evidence to support any of it, and overwhelming amounts of evidence to show that the universe is actually more like 14 billion years old. And that means he's about as accurate as if I were to look at Ben Carson and guess that he was a fetus, as opposed to a 65-year-old man. Only worse. Super wrong. But smart people can believe in stupid things that they have no expertise in. So I figured Carson was just smart about medicine. But then it came out that he believes in truth serums, like something you inject someone with and then they must tell the truth, like in the movies. So I realized he's not smart about medicine in general. So he must just be smart about neurology. And I was wrong again, because he recently gave a speech in which he lauded the incredible capabilities of the human brain. And to illustrate his point, he says that billions of neurons in the brain remember absolutely everything you've ever experienced. And to prove it, he could take the oldest person in the audience, drill a hole in their head, stick an electrode on their hippocampus, and then have them recite verbatim a book they read 60 years ago. This is exactly his area of expertise, and it is so wrong. It's the wrongest thing anyone in the Trump administration said, well, that day. I mean, they say things all the time that are very wrong, but still it's really wrong, and for a number of interesting reasons. First of all, human memory just doesn't work like that. Your billions of neurons don't perfectly remember every experience you've ever had, because if they did, you would go insane. It's bad enough that I remember a stupid thing I said to my crush in 5th grade. Your brain makes compromises, and it picks and chooses what to remember and how to remember it. In fact, not only is memory not picture perfect, but every time you recall something, you actually subtly change the memory itself and make it less reliable, like repeatedly opening and saving a JPEG. You lose a little information each time. Additionally, memories aren't all just hanging out in the hippocampus. The hippocampus does play a role in the formation and storage of memories, but it isn't a safety deposit box where we keep everything we've ever thought and it's all nice and neatly organized. All different parts of your brain come together to form, store, and recall memories. And it's a little terrifying that Carson doesn't know any of this, because he only retired as a neurosurgeon 4 years ago. It's not like this is all a recent discovery that scientists have learned after Carson already got his gold watch and he's been hanging out at home playing with his grandkids all day. He retired 4 years ago, and scientists pretty much knew all this stuff then. What's the moral here? Well, with Carson, the moral used to be you can be stupid about one thing and really smart about something else. But now it's just this. Holy shit! Even the dudes poking around in our brains are fucking idiots. And now this guy is in charge of housing and urban development for some reason. Maybe that's the thing he'll end up being smart about, separating conjoined twins and urban development. But unfortunately, somehow I doubt it.